Hello, fellow leggers.
Some spooky goings on tonight as you're joining us in Coventry at the Belgrade Theatre to see the supernatural thriller by best-selling author Peter James, The House on Cold Hill.
So stick around to hear our thoughts and find out how many stars.
And whether it's break a leg
or leg it. So, some spooky goings on for this touring production.
Quite. Well, author Peter James is known for his supernatural thrillers, in book form usually, but he has written some plays, and one of them is out on a UK tour right now and has landed in Coventry this week. It's the story of the Harcourt family who move into their brand new dream home, which has stood empty for 40 years, but they soon start to wonder if it's quite as empty as they first thought when they moved in.
Okay. Interesting. The mind stirs of kind of like The Woman in Black kind of thing.
Which you've seen, I've never seen it. I mean, I've seen the film, but other than that, I don't know too much about it.
A bit of a tense thriller, perhaps?
Maybe ghost story. It's billed itself as like a modern ghost story. So, I mean, in the picture that I've seen, they've got mobile phones and stuff. So it's not like a back in the day type thing. So maybe more like Paranormal Activity. You know, that movie-esque sort of thing.
Interesting.
Anyway, starring BAFTA-nominated actor and winner of 2017 Strictly Come Dancing, Joe McFadden.
Oh, great.
Also, award-winning actress Rita Simons, who is best known for portraying Roxy Mitchell in TV soap EastEnders, joined by another former EastEnder by way of Charlie Clements, who played Bradley Branning for 4 years on the show. Director Ian Talbot. We've seen a lot of Ian's work recently, haven't we?
He directed Eugenius.
Yes, and The Dame, which we caught at the Park Theatre, he did that. Should I say Ian Talbot, OBE?
He is OBE.
OBE. 2 hours and 20, so 20-minute intervals. Stick around to find out all of our thoughts in our 30-second interval breakdown.
And stick around to hear all of our thoughts and how many stars.
Right at the end. I'm going to have the willies put up, mate.
We've come to the interval, which means it is time for the break a leggers 30-second interval breakdown. Go! What do you think so far?
Oh, starting with me, are we?
Starting with you.
Well, I really like it. Some of the performances are fantastic. The genre of a ghost story, you consider it to be quite old-fashioned, but they've brought this one bang up to date, but with elements of sort of ye olde worldy, what's going to happen next. There's just about the right amount of suspense. I'm having a good time. What about you?
Yes, I think it's quite good writing, actually. Very now, very current. They've even got Alexa in there. That's how current it is. So using modern techniques, I'm quite intrigued. We have come to the end of The House on Cold Hill.
Not The House in Coles Hill, which is a place in Birmingham.
Which is based in Birmingham.
Yes, but The House on Cold Hill.
So, was it the spooky thriller of a story that you expected? How did it play out?
I mean, I enjoyed the writing, I have to say, and it's my first foray into this sort of genre of thriller. I don't think I've ever seen anything particularly supernatural.
I think this is possibly one of the hardest genres to transfer to stage. I think it's easy to do a comedy, it's easy to do something deep and serious and full of drama and intense stuff. It's, you know, lots of show dancing, but the actual drama of horror, I think within the remit of what is possible within a production on stage, I think this gets into really tricky ground.
I would agree, because there were moments where I was thinking, if this was a film, I could see this happening here, or I could see this special effect.
Yeah, and all of those things in your favour.
You cannot replicate that on stage.
Or you struggle.
I think
the answer against you, you're on an uphill slope
to
start with.
That being said, though, some of the greatest horror films of all time are of the silent era and of the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, where special effects were limited, yet they still managed to accomplish that. I'm thinking about the horror films now, which were basically stage plays, but on film, you know, and they were dealing with...
That's a really good point. I guess horror films that have the greatest effects, they're not recreated through CGI way. They are actual
Physical effects.
Physical effects, and that is some of the most moving stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
which surely you could do.
However,
right?
so I guess our experience in this has been The Exorcist. We saw the kind of that horror.
Okay, yeah,
so
we did see
that.
And
And
before with the Leggers, but we did see it.
so pulling that back to this piece, then.
Yeah.
How did this piece do?
I enjoyed the writing by and large. I thought there were some really clever ideas in there. I thought that it was, again, I've mentioned it in Interval Breakdown, but the fact that it is a modern horror thriller supernatural story, it's not something that you see a huge amount. I know Paranormal Activity, but when you think of Haunted House, you think old-fashioned, and this certainly isn't that. And I enjoyed that. I've got to say, I thought the writing outweighed and was superior to some of the production values and better than the performances that were on stage tonight.
Yes, it was definitely about the writing. I think the writer really gets it in terms of making it now and current. And there's some really cheeky references about technology and how technology is for the young. Almost taking the mickey. In certain places, in terms of the writing, we could almost preempt where it was going.
It was prediction. It was predictable at times.
But it almost knew that in itself as well, and played with that a little bit. I
love a nice self-aware amount of humour. I love it when something's like, oh my god, this is cliche, isn't it? Like, I quite like that.
But at the same time, there was still that element of slight tension I felt as well, with the sound effects suddenly jumping out loud at key moments and figures coming in and out, what you would expect from this kind of piece. So it was done just to the right effect.
They were there.
Just to the right narrative, because sometimes in this kind of thing, you kind of think...
You can overdo it, right?
Well, why don't you just get out? If it's a haunted house, why don't you just leave? Leave, goddammit.
Yeah.
But there's enough in the narrative that makes you understand
why they don't do that.
Why did that? Yeah, and so there was that slight element of believability in terms of the characters trying to seek a resolution and believing that they were getting there, or even just justifying it through natural causes before they realise they are in too deep, and then we're in that crescendo moment.
Yes, I would say that I think that some of the cues were pretty sloppy tonight, and those moments didn't come at the right point. Lighting cues were missed, sound cues were missed or mistimed.
At times.
And they've got to be bang on for a piece like this. You cannot have a door swing open at the wrong moment, as it completely undermines what you are trying to do. It all is down to the person on the keyboard is also is almost the most important member of the team here. And they didn't get it right at times tonight, and it was frustrating because I was thinking that should have been a jump scare, and it wasn't because you missed it, and it was frustrating.
But I don't know how much the audience would have picked that up. I'd say that's more something we're attuned to, having seen so many things. And those things really stand out.
You know, that's a sort of a great tragedy of us theatre goers now, is that we can't come and enjoy just a piece of theatre. We do have to, dissect it. It's an autopsy more than anything. And yes, I think we would notice those things more than your average theatre goer. And that's what this is. It is a casual theatre goer's piece. People that are going to enjoy this sort of thing on TV are going to have a great time at the theatre, seeing something live and told in a different way. It's not a purist's piece by any means, and it's not going to stretch a really avid theatre goer. But I could see why people would enjoy this.
I do. I think it has appeal. It's just the right level. I don't think if you're a die-hard horror fan, you'd particularly want to come. I think, but just if you're used to just theatre, then this is a real nice edge and a balance to that.
Yeah, bring your friends. Let's talk about performances.
Bring your friends, people.
Let's talk about performances now. Let's start with Padraig Lynch as Fortinbras. Now the priest of the piece, liked him, very small part, didn't have a huge amount to do. Credits include a view from the bridge at the at the Wyndhams in the West End, award-winning piece there, but no, he didn't have a lot to do. Trisha Dayton as Annie, the sort of aged hippie medium.
She suited that role very well.
Yeah. Let's move on to Persephone Swales-Dawson as Jade now. Perhaps Persephone was a regular in Hollyoaks, where she won Best Bad Girl at the Inside Soap Awards, playing Nico Blake.
Was this the daughter?
Yes.
Okay.
Dreadful. I've got to be honest. I've seen much stronger amateur theatre performances. I am shocked at how throwaway that her performance was, and unfortunately she's not a great actress.
Well, I always try and be positive and try to pull out the good points of a performance, which is why I think we should move on to the next member of the cast.
Fantastic. Let's talk about Joe McFadden as Olli then, probably the most famous person after winning Strictly. I'm assuming his dancing is better than his acting.
Moving on to the next member of the cast.
Rita Simons as Cairo, again, huge household name due to her part as Roxy Mitchell in EastEnders. I'm sure getting a lot of opportunity to do a lot of takes on a TV show, they probably get the best out of her.
Screw on me.
As a stage actress, I'm not convinced.
She did grow on me.
Okay, that's
okay.
Good, but yeah, very mixed bag and not a huge amount of ability. But stealing the show hands down and in a world of his own, not less a league of his own, was Charlie Clements in the role of Chris. Now you'll know Charlie
really
as Bradley Branning from EastEnders.
Yeah, and he wasn't that big a part either, but he did stand out almost in a different league in terms of his ability. Some of the other performances I felt as if they were going through the motions and almost like whizzing through it without any connection to themselves. It was just what they'd been told to do, and this is what the script said. No believability. Charlie really owned that part, and he was present, and it was as if he was there himself. So a real stellar performance from him. I'd love to see him in future stuff.
I was just about to say I would buy a ticket based on him being in a show, because I feel completely confident that he would be giving it 100%. He owns a character, he understands character, he has great technique. Charlie, you are amazing, and I cannot wait to see more of what you do. Let's move on to some of let's mention Leon Stewart as the role of Phil.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Again, a really small part, but I felt in safe hands.
Made the most of it, absolutely.
Yep.
And apparently Simon Balcon as O'Hare. Was that the person at the very beginning?
Yes, and he kind of hovered in some spooky moments.
Okay, I don't really remember him, which says a lot. Let's talk about
more due to the size of his part, I think, rather than his ability.
What do you know about the size of his part? Talking about putting the willies up, as in this, you would expect a few jump scares, and there are a few in this, aren't there? Like, I could feel the audience sort of reacting, which is exactly what you want. Let's talk about the direction from Ian Talbot. How did you find that? You said at some point it was a bit patronising.
Did I?
Yeah.
I thought he did okay with the piece. I think you can only work with what you've got in terms of your cast.
You picked the cast though, ultimately, right? You've got some say on that.
I picked the cast?
Not you, but what I'm saying is, a director, if you are going, then don't cast the people.
It's a difficult balance.
I really struggle with that, as saying, whose responsibility is this?
But you're also looking at trying to bring an audience into a UK tour. And, research and evidence shows that unless there is a name, a tour is going to struggle. Or unless it's a well-known piece that is automatically going to draw a piece, then a name in your cast from a soap is your best bet in terms of seeing the contract through, not getting cancellations and closing your tour early.
It's a minefield, isn't it?
So,
what a director.
I don't know.
You
what
think
do
a director just tells the actors where to be and when, but to have to think about this, it's not that straightforward.
It's really not straightforward.
I feel sorry for Ian in this. If that's the case, if he's had to cast a name just to get this off the ground, then sorry. Michael Holter's design, I liked the set. Thought it was good, functional,
it was practical, functional. Yeah,
and some great video projection design from Nina Dunn.
Well, it did. It was a bit. Now that I did find was a little bit patronising.
Well, you thought it was overused, but again, I put that at director's store.
Well, I don't. In terms of they had these weird projections come up, all kind of spooky, to kind of go, this is a supernatural moment, just in case you're not sure. It was kind of emphasised with that, and I thought, do you know what, that's a bit too much, and that I found a bit patronising. Just do your spooky moment for spooky sound. We don't need to have a, just so you know this is the spooky moment. That's just me.
And we've got a Lloyd Webber involved in this. Nick Lloyd Webber, the oldest of the Lloyd Webber children, did the original music. I didn't even notice any original music.
There's
some great
There's
use
little
of
interludes between scenes.
There's some great use of pop songs and recognisable music. I mean, having Alexa and having Spotify at your fingertips really helps with that. But yeah, Nick Lloyd Webber original music. So if you've never seen an Andrew Lloyd Webber piece before, then come and see a Nick Lloyd Webber piece, because Lloyd Webber. Anyway, how many stars for The House on Cold Hill, currently out on a UK tour?
For this piece, we are going to give 3 stars for this piece.
It's a really great piece of writing. I mean, Peter James is clearly a master of his craft in terms of suspense with that supernatural horror edge. I think your casual theatre goer will love this, and it's an opportunity to see somebody that you recognise from screen, you know, live in the flesh, and that's a thrill for a lot of people. I think there is a place for this, just unfortunately I'm not convinced by the performances, and I think this has been done better in other areas.
I think the emphasis there is on for the casual theatre goer. Any of you leggers out there with a more critical eye, I don't know how much you would enjoy this.
But you know what? Let yourself go. If you
Let
know,
yourself
let yourself
go.
go. Have the wheelies put up you and head to your local theatre to see The House on Cold Hill. We'll put a link to the website where you can see all of the venues listed. So, do you know what? This is just my opinion.
That's just what I think.
Yeah, what do you think? Have you caught this out on the road? Let us know down below. We love to hear from you. Theatre is subjective and we really appreciate difference. So, we're the Breaker Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.